Hello everyone. In this video we're going to be taking a look at an article from Politico written by Josh Gerstein. Either way, if I'm butchering it, I apologize, and kind of on a level I don't care. With the propaganda piece he's written here. It was published on September 7th. Court rejects Trump administration on travel ban exemptions. Grandparents, cousins of Americans get reprieve, as do many refugees. Now, here's the thing. That's a complete bold-faced lie. Because this has nothing to do with Americans sponsoring their relatives. This has to do with quote-unquote refugees coming in, then sponsoring their extended family, who are then going to have their extended family being sponsored. It's a never-ending chain that the left wants. Because they want to find a way to skirt around limitations in immigration to get likely, Democrat voters. Or ones that are going to be more likely to be Democrat voters. President Donald Trump's travel ban policy suffered another defeat Thursday as an appeals court rejected the administration's attempt to deny grandparents, aunts, uncles, and cousins of Americans a temporary exemption from the controversial executive order. Now, it's not Americans. Politico, Josh, you're both fucking liars. It's refugees, not Americans. Okay? Does not affect Americans sponsoring their family to come into the country. It's only refugees. And I love how they go, an appeals court. They don't tell you it's the Ninth Circus, which earned that name. Very, very, very much so. A three-judge panel of the Ninth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals unanimously declined to overturn a district court judge's ruling that the administration was taking too narrow a view of an exemption the Supreme Court carved out of the travel ban in June. Wrong. They're following it to a T. And the Ninth Circus knows this. And it's going to end up having to go to the Supreme Court. And again, the Supreme Court's going to say, hey, Ninth Circus, your shit with the Trump, unconstitutional. Fuck you. And they try to make it sound like Trump was knocked down. His travel ban wasn't really affected. A couple changes had to be made, but nothing really detrimental to it. But they're trying to make it sound like, they're actually winning the fight when they're losing miserably. The appeals court judge reasoned that since the justices said the mother-in-law of one travel ban challenger was entitled to a reprieve from the president's order, other relatives should enjoy the same treatment. Well, no. It's an exemption. A special case. Not because we got one, let's get in 5 million. Or 500 or 5,000, whatever the number is. This was extenuating circumstances if they got a reprieve. So, fuck off. Especially it was the Supreme Court saying this specific case was different. So, to me, when the highest court of the land says this is an exemption, this right here, that doesn't mean everyone. So the Ninth Circus decided to try to legislate from the bench again. If mother-in-law clearly falls within the scope of the injunction, then so too should grandparents, grandchildren, brothers-in-law, sisters-in-law, aunts, uncles, nieces, nephews, and cousins. Judge Michael Daley Hawkins, Ronald Gold, and Richard Paez wrote in a joint opinion. The government does not offer a persuasive explanation for why a mother-in-law is clearly a bona fide relationship in the Supreme Court's prior reasoning, but a grandparent, grandchild, aunt, uncle, niece, nephew, or cousin is not. Yeah. Oh my God. How thin do you want the blood to go on this being able to bring people in? This is complete horseshit, you stupid fucks on the left. Politico, Josh, you're both sleazeballs. Because when you're talking about a mother-in-law, okay, you're talking about your wife's mother. Okay, the woman who raised her, or on the note of if you're a woman, your father's mother, the woman who raised him. If you're talking about a father-in-law or a father, yeah, they deserve to have the ability to come in because it's your immediate family. Okay? Immediate family. But for some reason, now all of a sudden, to the left, your grandparents, your grandchildren, your aunts, your aunts, your uncles, your nieces, your nephews, your cousins, okay? Your sixth cousin twice removed. Oh yeah, they're able to come in now. Or at least that's what they want and that's what they think should happen. Because, oh, well, don't matter how thin the blood gets out as you go out, they're still family. The appeals court panel also cleared the way for a greater flow of refugees, declining to disturb a lower court order that those already assigned to resettlement agencies can enter the United States despite Trump's directive. Oh, God. Yeah. See, the Supreme Court rules, but these fucking judges on the West Coast and in the Ninth Circuit, they think that they're above the Supreme Court, that they are the ones writing the laws. They are there to interpret and enforce the laws. Not according to the way they're written, not how they feel about them. I don't understand how these judges are even in. They should be debenched. They should be derobed. Okay? They should be removed. If they're not going to follow the letter of the law, they should not be in there ruling on the law. It's that simple. Justice Department lawyers had argued that those agencies deal directly with the government and rarely have contact with refugees until around the time of their arrival. But the judges found that the argument's beside the point. No, that's exactly the fucking point. They haven't hit U.S. fucking soil yet. Okay? Coming here is a fucking privilege. It can be revoked at any time. The president has more power than you. Okay? The executive branch and the offices that it oversees are there to enforce the law. You are there to enforce it. You are there to interpret it, not legislate from the bench, okay, and do so because you're interpreting it with your feelings. I mean, this is fucked up. Even if a resettlement agency does not have a direct contact with the refugee before arrival, this does not negate the finding that a relationship is formed. Yes, it does, because in order to have a relationship with someone, you have to have some form of fucking contact with them. That's how you form relationships. Okay, it doesn't matter if we're talking interpersonal or if we're talking, say, a database and relationships, or if the word relationship is in it, there has to be some form of contact, relation between them. That's the bottom line. But, oh, well, no, the court, no, fuck you. These fucking courts on the West Coast, they seriously need to have people put in there that are constitutionalists, that understand the Constitution and actually will rule by the Constitution and U.S. law. The agency still expends resources and arranges for individualized service based on the specific refugees that the agency has agreed to resettle, the Ninth Circuit panel wrote. So, there's no guarantee that they're coming in, so they expended some money. It's not our fucking problem. This is just a fucking poor-ass excuse to try to say, oh, there's a relationship. But what would you expect? What else would you expect from the Ninth Circuit? Resettlement agencies will face concrete harms and burdens if refugees with formal assurances are not admitted. How so? Because it's the same expenditure for them as if the person gets rejected or if they're paying for the person. It'd actually be cheaper because they wouldn't be putting money in after they get here. So they put a little money out initially, if that, because they're probably not putting money out until he gets here. I don't believe this, oh, well, they got to put out money in advance stuff. Because they have a system up. So it's because they have a system in place, that's not likely the case. A Justice Department official said Thursday night that the administration will again ask the Supreme Court to set aside the legal rulings that have largely gutted Trump's policy. And they will. Mark my words, they're going to. Because it's the same exact shit that they went through with the last one. From the Ninth Circuit and in the whole refugee thing. The Supreme Court has stepped in to correct these lower courts before, and we will now return to the Supreme Court to vindicate the executive branch's duty to protect the nation, a justice spokeswoman said. Exactly. But for whatever reason, the left would rather get votes and put this country into danger because they're going to find a way to try to legalize these people at some point. If it isn't DACA, it'll be something else. The revised travel ban Trump issued in March suspends issuance of U.S. visas to residents of 6 majority Muslim countries and halts admission of refugees from across the globe. The Supreme Court has set arguments on the ban legality for October 10th. And you guys are going to end up losing again. Asked about the appeals court decision, a White House official expressed confidence in the legal underpinnings of Trump's directive. The president's travel order is well within his legal authority and keeps our nation safe, said the official, who spoke on the condition of anonymity. The Department of Justice will vigorously defend it. See, I don't understand why, if they're a quote-unquote, spokesperson type idea, well, actually, no, they're not. But if they're speaking on the fact of the situation, they shouldn't be worried. I mean, they're talking about the administration and they're towing the party line. So I don't know why they'd have to be anonymous. The new appeals court ruling could effectively negate the travel ban's application to refugees in the coming weeks, since about 24,000 are already assigned to U.S. resettlement organizations. See, I love this one. They're trying to get them, they can't get them through the front door, so they're trying to get them through the back door. And if they can't get through the back door, if there's a side door, they'll find it. And if not, they're going to shove them in through a window. That's what it's coming down to for them. They're not going to give up. Even after they exhaust all of this, feels over fact, feels over law shit, and the Supreme Court's like, no, you're abusing your power. And they make it very apparent. They're still going to try to find a way. I mean, look, they think they're going to get 24,000 of them in. They're not. In July, the Supreme Court temporarily halted the lower court ruling, clearing the way for admission of more refugees, but the High Court's ruling expires by its own terms now that the Ninth Circuit has ruled on the issue. No! It does not. I love how Politico fucking lies. No, the Ninth Circuit does not negate the U.S. fucking Supreme Court. That's not how it works. The U.S. Supreme Court's ruling still stands because why? They used to teach this in school, Politico. Your name is Politico. You should know how the 3 branches of government work. So that means when it comes to the judicial branch, who's the highest court? Is it the Ninth Circuit? Or is it the U.S. Supreme Court? No, not the Ninth Circuit. No. Come on, you can say it. Supreme Court. So to try to say that it's negated, you're full of shit. You're a bunch of liars trying to act like the Ninth Circuit has more power than the highest court in the land. You are dishonest sleazeballs. Josh, you should be writing for fucking BuzzFeed, dude. That's about the quality of your product. Now the Trump administration seems intent on asking again the justices to address the definition of close family and to clarify which refugees are exempt under the High Court's June order. Again, the High Court's, the highest court's order. Meaning the Ninth Circuit just overstepped its bounds again. But yeah, you're going to lie about it. The annual allocation of refugees runs through the end of the fiscal year at the end of this month. Trump could try to block the admission of any refugees after September 30th by setting that number to 0 or a low figure. So yeah, he can fuck you. But yet you're going to keep fighting, and then you're going to take him to court and say, oh, he doesn't have the power to do that, after you just said he did. Watch. If this draws out to that point, and he does what you're saying he's going to do, which you say he can do, you're then going to say, oh, no, can't do that. And we're going to see the same lawsuit bullshit. Mark my words. Obama had set the cap for this year at 110,000, although For budget and capacity reasons, a much lower number of refugees were actually expected to be admitted. Trump attempted to lower the cap to 50,000 for this year, but court rulings have effectively blocked that move. Yeah, because you're overstepping your fucking powers on the left when it comes to the courts and shit. Because you think that you are the law, and you're not. You're there to interpret the law when it comes to the courts. And do so according to the Constitution and the way the law is written. A lawyer handling the case decided Thursday, Neil Katyal, hailed the decision. The Court of Appeals has just sided with Hawaii and constitutional freedoms everywhere. You wipe your ass with the Constitution and then say that this was for constitutional freedoms everywhere. Oh, God. That's some funny fucking shit here, Katyal. Or Katyal, whatever the fuck your name is. You're fucking deluded. You are so deluded. All three Ninth Circuit judges who... I'm sorry. I'm just still finding that funny. All three Ninth Circuit judges who ruled on the travel ban exemption Thursday are appointees of President Bill Clinton. Why doesn't that surprise me, or I'm sure anyone who's watching this video? That goes to show you how fucking messed up and corrupt the Ninth Circuit Court is. Because it's always the Bill Clinton appointees. Always. Or, very rare, you might have an Obama one. There was one Bush, but he, baby Bush, but he's a globalist like his daddy. So, yeah, if you look, that's the situation. It's the same panel of jurists that issued one of the two appeals court rulings earlier this year that Trump's revised travel ban was likely illegal. Wrong! It was proven legal. By Ninth Circuit Circuit policy, the same set of judges is usually assigned to reoccurring appeals arising from the same case. So they craft it within the confines of the U.S. Supreme Court ruling, and the Ninth Circuit goes, "Oh no, the Supreme Court is wrong. We're right. We're above them. We're better than them." And they fucking do this shit. It should have been over with. And they're trying to make it sound like it's a good thing. They're so desperate to get a win that they're going to spin even these losses into wins. I mean, that's what they're doing with the fact of what happened the last time. The Supreme Court said, you fucked up, you're wrong, Trump was right for the most part. These couple things make things correct, but your argument was complete bullshit otherwise, so screw you. He can do it. Then you go, oh, no, he can't. You're children. You're whiny, petulant children. It's disgusting. You're judges. You're lawyers. You should be acting more mature than you are. Trump billed his initial travel ban order, issued in January, and revised edition released in March as anti-terrorism measures designed to protect Americans from threats posed by radical foreigners and to allow authorities time to improve vetting procedures. Very true. However, critics denounced the measure as a thinly veiled version of the Muslim ban Trump promoted and promised during his presidential campaign. He was actually talking about not banning all Muslims, but Islamic extremists. And from there, you could not prove that that's what this was. But yet you got to still push that propaganda because the court ruled that's not what it was. That's not what it is. So here you are still trying to feed that narrative and hope that someone will actually buy it. It's sad. It's very fucking sad. The Virginia-based 4th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals accepted that argument in a May ruling against the revised travel ban, with the court's majority concluding that the order amounts to intentional religious discrimination. No! There are Christians in those countries. There are even Jews. I mean, very few of them, because the Muslims are wiping them out. The same with the Christians. So, it's okay to bring those Muslims in when they're wiping out Christians. Bring them into our country. And I'm not saying all of them, but they got no problems with Christians being wiped out for the most part. The true believers of Allah and Islam, they want them gone. Because either you convert or die. And I'm not saying all these people are like that. But when those Christians are there and they're stuck there and they can't come in, it's not intentional religious discrimination. I love how you leave out that there are Christians living in that part of the world that are just as fucked, who should have priority because they're the ones being wiped the fuck out first. But yet, oh no, we can't talk about that because then our whole narrative starts to fall apart, along with other things that you know are being pointed out here. You know, if they were discussed, your narrative and what you want to do would completely fall apart. The California-based Ninth Circuit's decision, issued in June, dodged that issue, concluding that Trump's failed to meet legal requirements and exceed his statutory authority in issuing the directive. The Ninth Circuit doesn't have a problem with DACA, which was completely illegal, that Obama did. But they got a problem with Trump's trying to do what a president does, and do so within what the Supreme Court said is acceptable after the first run through. So the Ninth Circuit, like I'm saying here before, like I've already said, decided, oh, we're higher on the food chain than the Supreme Court. You're wrong. Screw you. I mean, the Ninth Circuit. Seriously. How the hell do you get rid of these judges? Because they need to be gone. Two key prongs of the revised travel ban are set to expire in the coming weeks, further complicating the legal picture. Yeah, because you guys keep stalling out something that would have already been in place and they would already be bringing in, you know, refugees. The 90-day ban on issuance of visas to citizens of Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, Syria, and Yemen expires September 24th. So that part of Trump's policy could be expired by the time the case is argued at the Supreme Court on October 10th. The refugee halt is scheduled to end about 2 weeks later. Yeah, you're trying to stall this out. You're hoping that you can fucking hold this shit off and delay it. And fucking use sleazy fucking draw it out legal tactics. That's what's going on here with you idiots on the left. You're all fucking scumbags for it. Because you lost. And instead of acting like adults, no. All you've been doing is throwing temper tantrums and pulling immature, infantile shit like this. And you wonder why you're losing more and more support. Could this be why? I believe it is. Anyways, this is the Constitutionalist Libertarian. If you like the video, definitely upvote or give it a thumbs up, depending on the platform you're watching it on. If you want to get updated to new content, definitely subscribe. If you're on YouTube, ring that bell so you're alerted to it. Thank you all for watching. Have a good one.